Hello, hello.
Yes.
There you go.
Honestly, I'm telling you, maybe I should be a singer.
Well, I think you.
I'm loving my voice in here.
Yeah. I'm Dave Chapman.
I'm Rob Kernahan.
And this is Realities Remixed Live, an original podcast from Capgemini. And this week, co-sponsored by Google, and we are still live at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas for Google Cloud Next 2026. And in common with the rest of the episodes, joining us is roving reporter Rachel Belmonte.
Hello.
How you doing? You are an I would say old hand by now.
Really?
Yeah, you've gone from
Really
intern
old?
to old hand.
Oh, okay.
Old hand in a complimentary way.
I mean,
Not
that's...
that you've got old hands.
Hang on, David.
Your hands are perfectly good.
I mean, I'm not going to buy any of your moisturiser after the dents and the slippages that you
Don't
have.
get your phone out if you're moisturising. It's dangerous.
I love the idea of you just moisturising. Everything just slips around you. This like sort of this world you must live in.
Don't go any further with that.
Although
this is a family show.
I'm quite impressed that you moisturise though, David. I think this is the thing that struck me.
Well, we're in the desert.
We're only here for a few days. It's not like we've thrown you into the wilds of the Nevada outlands.
You can feel it though, can't you? You can feel it. Marcel's constantly going in about how dry he's feeling. Aren't you, Marcel?
I was not listening, sorry. Yeah, edit
I
point.
mean, there we go.
Yeah,
Producer at the helm.
It's classic, isn't it?
That's
Classic.
this is what we've got to put up with.
Classic, absolutely classic. So there's another thing you have to put up with at the moment, isn't there?
I did.
Red eye. That's all I'm saying. Have you seen Rob's red eye?
I have. That was the first thing I spotted.
It's pretty rough.
It is.
So
It was.
Just let me paint a bit of a picture. So all the bit of your eye that's supposed to be white is deep red
Yeah, that is right.
in a sort of evil way.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as evil, but I have suffered a subconjunctural hemorrhage, apparently. So that is there, which I should be fine. But a blood vessel bursts, and then all it flows into the white of the eye and makes it red. So I now look like some Bond villain.
It looks every bit as gory as it sounds. And so when Rob this morning just like walked casually in with this eye, he expected us to believe that happened without any provocation.
Well, like I'm in a fight.
Well, I fell for it because I generally thought...
that just happens.
Yes.
It does.
So what?
It sounds like
So
it
what?
needs a stimulus to me. What actually happened? Come on.
Well, after you went to bed,
Yeah.
I went out.
I went to bed early last night for the
You did.
record.
Yeah,
Very
you
early.
did. Very early. You needed
You
to.
went out?
No, I didn't. I just it has actually happened before to me. It does help that Mrs. K is an optician, and I'm able to send a photo and go, "What's this?"
Big shout out to that for some remote medical support.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that is it. It was digital. Send a photo. And she says, yes, it's that. And we took another one. She went, yeah, no, it's probably what it is.
Yeah, I took a very close-up one. It looks pretty scary close-up, doesn't it?
Thanks for painting quite a bad
But
picture
it was.
there,
It was
Dave.
pretty gory. I'm sorry.
It
I
is.
showed me the picture.
Hard to look at, some would say.
So it's additive to my face being hard to look at, isn't it? So you bring it all together.
All right, on the conference floor, what's happening, Belmonte?
Well, full media.
Oh, yes, this is some good stuff.
Yeah, so when it was the keynote yesterday, halfway through kind of the convention, all of a sudden snow started to fall. And they introduced the Winter Olympics segment.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah, it just all the feels, all the vibes.
In the keynote.
In the keynote. And Sean White, who is an Olympic snowboarder. Yes. He came on stage and he's been collaborating with Google to use Google Cloud's AI video analysis platform to get 3D biochemical data from just 2D smartphones, and that is to help all of his like performance, like the physics that goes into snowboarding. It was pretty cool. So they used like spatial analysis, and then they used Gemini to chat with the data, and then that in turn meant that they could review stats like the speed, the airtime, the body positioning. It was pretty cool.
Though, do they
really
give the anthropomorphize the data?
Yeah.
And give it a personality? Like you could sort of have a slightly belligerent data set, and it gives you the answer, but in a semi-hostile way. Or maybe a really overly happy data set where it's really cheery and excited about being able to talk to you about the information it's about to give you. I think you need to bring a bit of fun to the old conversation.
I was wondering what you would do with some 3D biochemical data. What do you do with that? Maybe show what it is.
Do you not know, Dave?
Yeah,
hundreds of applications.
But dread to think, us like mapping out Rob's spatial awareness and positioning. So there you go.
I'm not sure AI is powerful enough for that yet. Is it? The worst news of the week's happened, though, hasn't it?
What's that?
They've renamed Nano Banana.
I'm gutted about this. I genuinely am. I loved Nano Banana. I loved saying it.
Do you know what the new name is?
I did know, but I've forgotten.
Gemini 3.1 image.
I mean, it slips off the tongue.
I mean,
snappy.
It isn't as good. I mean, Marcel is a big Nano Banana consumer. What do you think about this, Marcel?
Horrible. Sorry.
Well, you're not going to use it anymore now?
No. It's a great tool, so just use it. But the name, I don't know.
There was a whole raft of models launched, all updates for media, music, imagery, all that sort of stuff. But they've stuck with the core names like VO and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they've now got Gemini 3.1 Pro, standard, Gemini 3.1 image, which we just discussed, VO 3.2 Lite, and then Lyra 3.
Lyra 3. Now, should you think they should have a meeting where they go, should we just sort of re-baseline the versions? Because,
that will certainly happen, I think. I mean, with Apple, they re-baselined all the versions, didn't they?
Well, that was the other big announcement as well, actually, bringing up Apple. Have I spoilt something for you, Rachel?
No, I was just so pleased with my bridge, and then you walked right over it.
Hey, you build a bridge, I'm going. No, but the Siri's going to get Gemini, basically.
That's right.
When you talk to Siri, it's secretly going to be Gemini, or not so secretly, since they announced it to millions of people worldwide.
So what have they said about it?
Oh, just a bigger partnership, more to be announced later on this year. That was pretty much it. They didn't actually go into anything technically specific at all. Just a greater partnership.
Yeah, very
with
good.
Apple. Yeah,
very good.
You love it when two tech companies come together with a loving. Makes magic.
It does make magic. Talking of magic, I'm delighted to say that our guest in this show, we have got Khulan Davaajav, Product Marketing Manager for Generative Media Models at Google Cloud. Khulan, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you so much for having me. It's so awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you for fitting it into what I'm sure is a busy diary this week.
Yeah, very busy. Lots of awesome announcements, meeting so many awesome people as well, like our customers and some of my colleagues I've never met in person before. So it's been wonderful.
Right. Yeah. What's your highlight of the week been so far?
Highlight, I did yesterday a live stream, which I never done before in that capacity, where, it's kind of like, oh my God, am I going to say something wrong?
Right.
What's going to happen?
Right.
So it was like a live stream on generative media models and kind of introducing the concept of generative media to our audiences. And I made a little demo, like a little video of this man called Fred snacking too much when working from home. And so it was like a whole made from like a 3D render style. Anyway, so that I would just told the audience how I made the video as a creative, like step by step with all our models using image model, video model, audio models, and music model, just to showcase like what you can do with all of them together. And so I was just like, please, demo work. I'm like, demo gods, be on my side, please.
Yeah. Did it go well?
It went well, yes.
That sounds great.
It does sound good.
Really
is your
good.
background creative?
Yes, it is. I can tell you a little bit about my background. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started designing by myself on GIMP when I was in high school. I would say 13 or something. I got my first computer and, I was like, let's see what I can do with this. And so I decided to download GIMP, which is a free version of Photoshop at that time.
Right.
And I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I can do so many things. I started designing blogs and so many things. And I won 2 competitions with my web design and was sent to San Francisco Google I/O conference. Literally, I was still in high school. I barely spoke English, by the way, at this point. So I'm going to San Francisco by myself, like a high school student, and
crazy,
trying to find my way in English. So that was cool. And then, so when I moved to London at some point after to do A-levels, I wanted to do a part-time job. And I first found a part-time job in a cafe, and it was so time consuming. It was 30 hours, a week working in a cafe whilst you're trying to study. And this was in the summer. But then in college, I continued that as well. And university, I went to university.
Yeah, that's the British word.
And I was like, this is not sustainable. I cannot like do anything from working in a cafe long-term wise. There's no like long-term future in this whilst I'm studying. Yeah. So let me do something in my free time that actually I can earn pocket money whilst I'm doing something for my future. So I was like, let me start designing again. And so I started to first design for the student clubs in my university, like flyers and logos and all that. Then word of mouth happened and people started hiring me and commissioning me for projects. Wow. For video creation, logo design, flyers for events. Mostly it was like event work. And it was so fulfilling to me because I was like, oh, wow, like I get to do as a part-time job whilst I'm finishing my university, like designing. And I made in my last 2 years of university, like $100,000. I mean, wow. If I convert it to dollars. And so I had the best university experience in London because I was earning.
Living the dream.
Exactly. I was earning and I was also, but the thing is, I'll tell you what, I literally was, I think at that time as a young person, you kind of like follow other people's footsteps. And at that time, I remember everybody applying to corporate jobs. Like in London, everybody does, right? You need to go to banking. You need to go to
grad schemes. It's always the grad schemes.
Exactly. The grad schemes, like you need to go to banking, consulting, And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that as well. So I started applying like everybody else, all my friends, and I got rejected from every single bank and consulting firm except Adobe.
Right.
And they were like, we hired you because you know how to use our tools. And I'm like, okay, that was helpful. Then you need to learn Photoshop.
Well, talking about tools, and that's a good pivot over. Yeah. So through the eyes of a creative then, describe the generative stack as it exists right now.
Yeah.
And how do you see it?
Mm-hmm. So when you look at across the industry, all the companies that are offering models, it's across mostly 4 main areas. And there's like a 5th one emerging as well now. Mm-hmm. So number 1 is obviously image generation. Everybody's offering image generation model. Number 2 is video generation models. Number 3 is audio. So transcription, speech generation, and Google also has live audio, so we can do audio to audio. So there's no like text in between. And the 4th one is music generation models. And lastly, companies are now experimenting with world models. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other ball game. And I believe currently it's only Google. OpenAI just hired somebody to build a world model. They deprecated actually Sora because they were like, we need to shift the compute to somewhere else, like world models. Right. There's a company called Descartes that has a live world model too. And they have been doing really cool stuff like live virtual try-on, where you can just like stand in front of the camera and you see the clothes on yourself because it's live. You don't have to wait for like the generation rendering time. And then there are other companies, but that's what I'm seeing. And there are 2 kind of use cases for world models. One is obviously robotics. You want to train robots to be able to, operate in the physical world based on training them in the virtual world. And secondly is for creatives, it's a whole other ballgame because now you kind of can build your own world, like your own set, and move inside the set like a cameraman and just like filming that whole story world that you build, right? And I think that is a whole new way of creating and thinking about creativity that is going to unlock some new cool user experiences.
Right. And it's worth maybe just touching on, because it's a live conversation. What in your mind is the relationship between the creative and this modern set of tools? I think the observation I'd maybe make to help set it up is there's always a relationship between a creative and some form of tooling. Mm-hmm. How do you think that dynamic is working in the generative AI world?
Yeah, so there's a lot of discourse online there are a couple of discourses online. I see. And amongst creatives, when you go to events, the way people talk, or if you just sit, have a coffee with somebody, the way they talk about AI and creativity, there's one side that is a little bit negative because they're worried about, the repercussion of what are creatives going to do. And then the other side is more positive, where people are like, oh, I never could before do motion graphics, but now I can generate motion graphics. Right. So now I can finally bring to life what I always wanted, but I never had the tools to do so, or I never had the time to learn After Effects.
I was going to say the productivity. I normally hear that from customers. Yeah. Now it's like, I'm getting so much time now to do other things and, expand the art of the possible, so to speak.
Exactly. So I think we're kind of in that 2 worlds where there's some group of people who are worried and some group of people who feel extremely empowered. to bring their visions to life. And I think it's totally fair. And I think when you look back at a history, that's always how we have been when it comes to new technology and the creative space. And I can give you some examples from the past. What I personally like is that more people get to participate in the act of creativity, and more people get to do things that they could never do before. And so let's think about the painting. Before camera was invented, means to capture reality was with your hands to paint it. So painter's job was to really just capture reality, and only the upper class could afford to have a portrait of their family and of themselves, right?
Right.
Then camera was invented. And literally I think it was one of the painters, I forgot his name now, but he said in a newspaper, in a lecture, painting is dead. And we hear that now as well, right? All the time online. And we're so far away from painting being dead, right? Like the art form of painting has just
absolutely
changed, like Cubism, Impressionism, so many new forms have emerged. Anyway, so my point being is, so after camera was invented, now middle class could participate in having their photograph taken of their family, right? And that is so wonderful because now so many families have memories of their ancestor, from so many years ago, having a picture taken. So what I'm really passionate about is that more people get to participate in the act of creation, and it's just empowering more people to create things, and not just for the sake of creating things, but also to expand their economic opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I find really exciting, because when we look back again, let's say YouTube, right? Or social media and smartphones. Actually, let me take a step back. When everybody got a smartphone with a camera, people were like, oh, not everybody can be a photographer. Photography is dead as well. And so when we look back now, I have a smartphone. I'm not a photographer, right? Exactly.
There's a distinct difference between, even though smartphones are incredibly powerful instant cameras, but the difference between that and somebody who is shooting on a Leica, M series with film in it and judging light properly, there's still an art there, isn't there? Even though we've all got one in our pocket, to quote Jobs.
Exactly. It's like your vision, your inspiration that you bring into your art. And sometimes when I see some of my photographer friends take pictures and I see the result, we were in the same spot. We took the same picture, but they just changed the angle a little bit or the lighting.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, did we live the same reality? Yeah. Why does it look so different?
Colossal difference. Yeah. Have you seen those things on Instagram where it's how I imagine me getting my picture taken? There's a bunch of brilliant things. And here's how my partner takes a picture of me, and it's wrong angles and looking terrible.
Yeah, definitely. Even the features that even within your smartphone where you should be maybe putting certain bits on and flicking bits on. I've got no idea. It's literally you just take your phone up.
I'm surprised you say that with the technical acumen you described. The settings changes there.
Sorry.
I thought I didn't know you were such an accomplished photographer.
No, honestly, people tell me, but I've got no way. I don't have time. I don't have time. It's just in the moment snapping.
Just capturing life.
Yes, exactly.
Capturing life as it goes along. But I think that does. I like your take there, and I think there is also. So as well as the sort of democratization of it, and therefore within that democratization, new interesting things can happen. I think that it never also removes the relationship between the creator and the tools they're using to create. These tools happen to be powerful and maybe make you move faster and things like that. But it's still having, there's a massive difference between something that's been crafted using whatever tool and something that's just been knocked out.
Yes, agree. And another thing I want to bring to attention is that creative literacy is becoming a thing. Because now it's easier to create. People are realizing what is good, what is bad, right? And so people are realizing, oh, I guess I need to prompt for better lighting. Oh, I guess I need to prompt for better texture.
Right.
Maybe I need to add a prompt of what camera lens was used. And so what I'm really enjoying seeing is people who never were in the creative industry all of a sudden learning about these things like lighting, camera setting, right? Because they're I need to put that in the prompt to get the result. So for me, that's wow, I can't believe that some of my colleagues who never thought of themselves to be creative now, they're increasing their creative literacy through these tools. And so one more point I want to bring to that is when you picked, I don't know, I'm not a good painter, but if I now picked a brush and I was meant to paint something, I would not be good at it. It would take me a couple months to train to be a good painter. Right. So it's the same thing with generated content, right?
Yeah.
Your first image or video may not be the best amazing thing, but then you may have a bunch of people calling you AI slob, right? Calling your work AI slob.
Yeah.
But it's actually like, let's give each other grace. Like all of us are here to learn and improve, and AI is helping us to improve our creative literacy. And therefore, I think we should give people a bit of a break from calling their work bad, because I also would not be a great, I'm not a great photographer. It would take me maybe a couple of months to train to be a good one.
Of course it would.
Yeah.
Of course it would. Well, let's maybe move on and talk about the sort of conversations you're having with your customers now. Mm-hmm. So how are they, like, describe a discourse that you're having? Is it a similar transaction to kind of, I'm buying the agentic SOC for security and therefore I'm buying things? Or is there something about you're having to coach people into what these tools look like as a creator? Give us a sense of that conversation.
So what I'm seeing is that the conversation has been shifting. In 2026, the conversation is no longer about cost efficiency and speed. I think that is so like 2024, 2025, right? It was all about cost and efficiency.
Well, every time technology comes out, the first response for any commercial organizations are ROI and how much money can I save?
Yes.
Rather than upward value.
Exactly. And so what I'm seeing is some companies are very innovative and they have moved on from thinking about costs and efficiency, because they're like, that has already been proven. Like, what can we do else? Yeah. So some companies are in the space really building and thinking about new experiences they're building for their customers, which is really wonderful. And rethinking their UX, rethinking their product design, rethinking how they engage their customers in their business. And that's all done through generative media models. And that is very, very, like, I'm just like so lucky to be in the space to see how companies are thinking about this, and me then being the end user of some of these tools. I'm like, wow, this is great.
It is. And, I was so excited to have you on today, only because using the generative models, especially in Google, and we'll probably go back to that in a minute with the listeners to do a bit of a refresh, but instantly putting them in front of a customer, showcasing them, and them seeing, again, goes back to the art of the possible, what they can actually do, and seeing, their creative literacy grow as a consequence of that is amazing. It really, really is. And some of the tooling is unbelievable of what you now can do in Google. Can you just go over the highlight Google Stacks? So some of the names of the...
Yeah. So Google offers for image generation and editing Nano Banana. I mean, we call it, the official name is Gemini Image, but there's
That was just a recent announcement at this...
you should have called it Gemini Nano Banana. I mean, it was sitting right there, wasn't it?
Why?
I know. It was a code name. So normally, like, when companies release their models for benchmarking to those like benchmark companies, they release it under a code name, so nobody knows who this is from, and it's like all blind kind of voting on which model output is better. So one of our engineers just decided to name it Nano Banana.
Honestly, that engineer.
I mean, it's a name that sticks. Like you can like image. I mean, it is what it says, like what it says on the tin, and you can imagine it sitting within somebody's brand house and feeling like really good. But Nano Banana's got like a ring to it, hasn't it?
It has. And I mean, in fact, for listeners, Khulan is wearing banana earrings.
Yeah.
So
we
I
can
feel
see
like we're
where
still
your
channeling.
allegiance lies.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a fan of Nano Banana.
What else? What else is in the stack?
Yes. Then we have a video model, VO. It's called VO. And the latest version that we released about a month ago was VO 3.1 Lite, which is cost effective, retains good quality, and it's much faster than VO 3.1. So that's for video generation. Then thirdly, we have audio. We call it, the overarching brand is Gemini Audio, and that includes transcription. It includes voice generation. And actually, we just released a new model called Gemini 3.1 Flash Text-to-Speech. And it's one of our most expressive models, where it like yawns and it can like also scream at you. It can be super panicked. And it honestly
it's like
so wonderful.
Emotion. It's like giving you emotion. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the wonderful thing is, like, I was using it for my demo yesterday, and I'm like, everybody was like, oh my God, it can like yawn. And I'm like, yeah, I can yawn.
Was it also very nervous about doing a live stream demo, do you think?
Was it nervous?
Yeah.
It was, because then I demoed the next thing that I'm going to mention, so Google has something called Gemini Live, and that is an audio to audio model. And so you can talk to it, talks back. And we have just released at Next in preview Gemini 3.1 Flash Live with an avatar feature.
Right.
So there's a face and it's lip syncing as it's talking to you back. And so I did a live demo of asking, what is the weather like now in Las Vegas? And because it connects to Google Search, it can fetch the live data information for you with a low latency. So I think I asked the question, like a second or two later, I had an answer, which is like almost having a conversation with a person.
Yeah, right.
So that was wonderful. And then last thing I want to mention is we have on Google Cloud also Lyria 3 Pro, which is a music model. Yeah. And that I use for my demo. One of the wonderful features is they can do timestamp prompting. So in square brackets, you can add the times when you want certain musical genre to start. So I uploaded my video that I made into Gemini, and I was like, analyze the video frame by frame and tell me a prompt I can use for Lyria 3 based on the story. And I told it it's a comedic story and just analyze it. And then basically in the video, in like, I think 0.35 or 28 seconds, I have the character fall asleep.
Right. Brilliant.
And Lyria knew to create a timestamp prompt at that specific moment to start playing Lullaby.
Right.
So
So
good.
So that was so wonderful. I was like, oh, I can, I don't have to actually like sit down and like now fetch like, I don't know, 10 different soundtracks or background music for my videos. I can just actually with timestamp generate exactly for those segments. Yeah.
Amazing.
And then one last thing is obviously world model, Genie 3, that is not on cloud yet, but it's a world model that we have.
When is it coming to cloud? Do you know?
Well, she may not be able to say.
I'm not, even if I knew, I could not say it.
Even if you knew. I'm going to try and trick you into that later in the show. And what have you, in terms of the customer conversations you've had, like I said, so interesting that they're coming at it now from a different angle, beginning to step past the obvious productivity savings into something more creative and more value driving. Have you got any favorites? Have you seen any good stuff that you've gone, actually, I would not have expected to see that?
Yes, I actually have 3 examples that I thought were very fitting of this new generation, I guess, of the business world that we're entering. My favorite one probably is WPP. And the reason why I say that is they have built their own creative tool called WPP Open.
Right.
And why this is interesting is because, Google Cloud offers models. We offer the APIs. We don't offer tooling per se, right? And so all these companies, enterprises out there have been like, what tools can we use to use these models? And what I liked about WPP was that they didn't want to wait for other companies to build new software. So that we're just going to build our own software. We're going to use Google's models. And so they decided to do that. And they have their own creative tool for their own.
But their speed to market since doing that has been insane. And the things that they've managed to push out for their own clientele, for Black Friday, for Christmas, seasonally has been amazing. And it's the volume of media, I suppose, that they can push out as well, just from having their own tool.
Exactly. And one more thing on top of that is, to the point where I was mentioning earlier about economic expansion, WPP now has opened the tool to their customers. So you can get a license to use the tool as their customer. And so now they're technically like a software provider, right? So that has been so interesting to see for me because I'm like, wow, like this is so interesting how AI has enabled companies to reinvent their business model.
Oh yeah, digital agencies just to start diversifying their own portfolio as well. So yeah, it's great what they've done. Yeah.
Maybe you have heard also of a company called FreePic in the past. So I, as a creative, I used to use FreePic for my stock imagery and videos. They used to be just a stock imagery and icons website. And they have pivoted massively their business. They now are a creative tool. So basically, I think around like 2023 or something, they just like totally pivoted. They started offering the models on their stock website. And then they were like, actually, we want to build a great user experience for the creative. So they built this whole node-based system and they have all the different models on their application. And it's one of the most visited consumer like creative tools by there was some sort of ranking that I saw online. And so I'm seeing companies like completely pivoting their business model. But more than just like companies pivoting business model, I think as an end user, what is happening in the space is also, especially in retail, virtual try-ons, right? I've seen, let's say, Zara doing on the app a virtual try-on. So you can actually just try on the clothes virtually, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Or I heard of a story from Burger King where they did a competition of I think it was like the best design of a burger.
Right.
And they had a bunch of people participate in designing the best burger competition. And then I think the best ones were selected and they ran a campaign on that end. They sold out the burgers, which is amazing, right? So
they actually created the burger that the
competition.
Was it just done like locally in a particular store or in a country, or how?
I don't remember the details of the campaign. I just remember reading about it on one of the websites that I was scrolling. And what I thought was amazing is that companies are allowing their users to participate in creating, which is so wonderful, which it's not anymore like a one-way street. It's like I can participate in your customer experience, not just the other way around.
Yeah.
Now, maybe to bring our conversation to a bit of a close for today, I wonder when you gaze forward and wearing your creator hat from university and doing design, what excites you most about what you can see coming down the pipe?
In terms of technology?
Tool sets.
Tool sets. Yeah. Okay, so probably the most exciting part is, it's going to sound super strange, vibe coding.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is this year in January, I took like 2 weeks off. I was like, I'm just going to learn properly, like wrap my head around vibe coding, like building software. Because I'm like, I know how to vibe code like random stuff, but how do you deploy it? How do you safely deploy it? All that. Yeah. So I took 2 weeks off from work and I was just spend in my bedroom vibe coding. Right. Very strange, right? Anyway, so
that's the most Google thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And so what I learned from that experience was, oh my God, I can create my own software. Right, I can create my own creative tools, right?
Yeah, right.
I can create my own motion graphic videos with code. And so, for example, I'll give you an example. I do weekly newsletter, and I used to do it very manually using Canva, doing my own research on X. Spend like 2-3 hours doing that, just doing the actual research and then doing the design work, which is a template that I built in Canva. So, but I'm spending a lot of time copy pasting things. Anyway, so I was like, okay, let me take this as an opportunity to experiment if I can vibe code my own newsletter tool where the design is already preset because I have designed it. And then I have an API going through the X accounts of the companies that I want to follow and like writing down all the latest updates that they pushed out, then having another reasoning model, writing out the actual kind of what I would put in my newsletter in my own language and in my own way that I do, because I can feed it my past newsletters. And so I kind of automated this whole process, which would take me 3 hours into like, I would say 30 minutes. And what's wonderful about this is now I have 2.5 hours free to actually test the tools instead of just writing about them. So that's been really nice. And that's since then, I've just been, every single thing that comes across my table, I'm like, can I do this with code? Can I vibe code this? Right. And so what I'm seeing is more and more creatives are becoming creative builders. So everybody's building their own workflows and software. So then you get to the question of like, okay, we actually feel super empowered to build our own software. We don't have to wait for the software company that we were using to build a feature in the next like 6 months if I can just build it myself, So that's what I'm seeing, the shift. And it's truly crazy to me because there are so many people that I know in my own personal circle who would never like touch code.
Right.
And now they're building all these awesome workflows and tools for themselves. And I'm just like, wow, like how did you even think about this? They're building their own agent skills, So that's where I'm seeing where things are headed, where people feel more empowered to build their own software on demand.
Very good. Well, look, thank you for spending a bit of time with us this morning in a very busy week and opening our eyes a little bit to the possibilities of this tool set.
Thank you for having me. It was super wonderful talking to you.
Now,
on a final point, in fact, a very important note, barbecue. So we've been asking all of our guests what their take on barbecue is. And this all comes back to a meal that we had at the beginning of the week at a place just outside of the Vegas Strip, north of the Vegas Strip, called Roadkill Grill It sounds better than what it...
It was better than
it sounds. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a typical place where, I mean, myself and Rob especially, our eyes were bigger than our stomachs, and we went for like full combo, which we blatantly couldn't have
the 3 meat combo.
Oh, yeah, I know. Which, we didn't. We were struggling.
They didn't hold back on the portion of it. It was like 3 portions, not like a third.
Were you like knocked out after that?
Yeah, you just have to kind of roll me back to the car. But we just wanted to. We're interested in knowing, what's your take on barbecue?
My take on barbecue. So I am Mongolian, from Mongolia. And as you know, we eat a lot of meat in Mongolia. It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The concept of eggs for breakfast does not apply. It's a social construct.
It's a different meat.
Exactly. It's just another meat. So for us, like my favorite barbecue is Mongolian barbecue. But it's not the one you think. So everybody thinks Mongolian barbecue is the beef with the sauce. But that's the Chinese barbecue that's just called Mongolian barbecue.
Right.
Real Mongolian barbecues, you get a sheep, a goat, you go to the countryside, and you do the deed. And you eat everything, like from organs.
Paint a picture.
Okay.
What's the actual the contraption, the barbecue contraption? What does it look like? The actual physical thing.
Yeah. So it's twofold. One is it's twofold based on the animal.
Right.
But the most common is you just have a big pot. You add the meat, potatoes, onions, maybe some carrots, and you add hot stones with the meat. So you're cooking the meat in a water with the hot stones.
Right.
And that's something that people don't really realize, but cooking meat on a stone actually adds really nice flavor to it. And so you just cook it for ages, and then you take it out, and it's most of the food in Mongolia is actually, the meat is like boiled.
Right.
It's not fried. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of imagining some sort of like spit roast, like, rotisserie.
Yeah, I'd gone to the Argentinian, the Argentinian.
Oh yeah.
When I'd gone to that sort of thing. So you boil the whole thing in one, or just chop it up first?
Just you chop it up first, but like large pieces, not like small pieces.
Right.
You actually like let's say an arm.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's very graphic. Sorry.
And what kind of sauces and sides do you have with that?
So that's the thing. In Mongolia, we only have salt and pepper and garlic and onion. That's about it. And when I moved to the UK, I was like, great. And then I went to an Indian restaurant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so much spice.
Yeah.
I could not handle spice. So literally, like growing up with no spice, I could not handle spice. So it's salt and pepper. One of the other things is people don't realize, like, we eat, when I say everything. Right. From organs to everything. And that's always been very difficult growing up also in Europe, explaining this to my friends, because they're like, you're a barber. And I'm like, this is my culture.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also almost respectful as well to do that. There's a restaurant in London called St. John's, which is in Farringdon near King's Cross. And they're called nose to tail. And they do the same thing, use the whole thing, don't discard anything, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I would say one last thing is, in Mongolia, we really are connected to the nature and to the animals. There are like 3 million people, about 48 million livestock.
Right.
And so everything that we do is very much with respect to the animals, the way we kind of sacrifice or kill them. It's very much with respect to the animal and to the nature. So yeah, the meat tastes also completely different than what you find in supermarkets.
Wow. Well, look, thanks for sharing that. It's amazing how the question of barbecue has opened up so many diverse
It really has. I didn't
reactions.
think it would be so diverse, but it's
fabulous.
Been good.
Yeah. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Want to dive deeper into today's topics and what they mean for your business? Drop us a line at realitysremixed@capgemini.com. We're on LinkedIn. Connect, DM, and send us your questions for future episodes. And hey, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us make the show even better. Big thanks to Khulan, our sound wizards Ben and Louis, producer Marcel, and of course you for tuning in. See you in another Google Reality soon.